Hello and welcome. Minister of Finance Dr. Ashney Singh presented a whopping $781.9 billion budget for this year. And today with us here we have Minister of Public Works, Bishop Juan Edghill, who will be discussing a bit more going into depth of his ministry's budget allocation for 2023. Minister, a pleasant good afternoon to you, and I trust all is well.
Well, greetings to all your viewers and listeners, and thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. So, Minister, your ministry itself, it has many subsectors, and you have received over $158 billion, or is set to receive that when the budget is passed in the National Assembly. Could you tell us more about what some of the major projects will be, new projects that is, that will be undertaken this year?
Well, the first thing I would want to do, and to begin this program, is to express my deep appreciation to His Excellency the President, the Vice President, Dr. Juan Edghill, as well as Minister Singh and his team in the Ministry of Finance. Having received our budget proposals and having gone through the scrutiny of what our proposals are, to express the confidence in the ministry that I am the team leader to make such a sizable allocation for our management so that we could continue to modernize and transform Guyana. As the Minister of Public Works, I have responsibility for infrastructural development, transportation, which includes aviation, maritime, and land, and the infrastructure that is related to that. So in budget 2023, we have a significant, sizable allocation. Minister Singh would have described that, 136.1 billion, not million, $136.1 billion for what might best be described as transport infrastructure, roads and bridges. Roads are broken down into various categories. Community roads is one category, or we describe them as miscellaneous roads. So everybody know the 3rd Street, the 4th Street, Back Street, Cross Street, Sideline Dam, all those streets that needs to be fixed. From that allocation is where we are executing those works in our miscellaneous roads program. In our urban roads program, that's in all of the townships, including the city, we have to continue to enhance road infrastructure in the towns. So you have the miscellaneous roads program, you have the urban roads program, then we have what is called the hinterland roads program. The hinterland roads program is a very exhaustive program where we have to connect villages and maintain the corridors that connect the coastland with the hinterland. Then we have, on our roads program as well, farm to market access roads. We have to support agriculture. So farm to market access roads would include roads like what we did at number 58, linking the Quarantine Highway with the Kanji Creek. At number 52, seeking to do the same things. But we're also pushing ahead with the road from Sand Hills at Tamiri all the way into Bakawara, Bartica, to connect Bartica, connecting regions 4 and region 7. Then we also have the what we know as the Del Conte Road, continuing from Parika all the way out to Makawara, Goshen area. Then we have what could best be described as highway improvement. So apart from these community roads, urban roads, miscellaneous roads, from to Market Access Road, we have major highways, and that's what I want to discuss. Major highways would be one, the upgrade of the roads from Sheriff Street along the railway embankment to Orange Nassau. Then on the main East Coast Road, the upgrade of the road from Belfield to Orange Nassau Mahaica. So those are main roads to be dealt with. We have to continue with the 4-lane highway from Ogle, that is heading all the way to Eccles, then on to Diamond, then on to the Susdike-Linden Highway, linking Ogle and to Mary's International Airport. Budget 2023 makes provision for works on the Grove to Tumiri Road. Now, as I speak here, there might be somebody who's in a slow-moving traffic pace in the Grove to Tumiri Road. We are aware of that. You would have seen that we have already started to expand the drains. There are 16 lots, sections, 16 sections, contractors working in every different section to put in the concrete drains through Grove Diamond so we could widen the road and have greater movement of traffic. Budget 2023 addresses that. Budget 2023 addresses the upgrade of the road from Susdike, that's on the East Bank, Susdike Junction, all the way up to Linden. There's going to be a roundabout at the Susdike Junction for easier traffic management. Getting off the highway, getting onto the highway, continuing to Tumiri in a roundabout. And then when you reach Millie's hideout at Linden, there's going to be another roundabout there to give you better access into Linden and to cushion some of the effects of that sharp turn and the dangers that pose, improving traffic safety and the flow of traffic. We have to continue the Linden to Mabura Road to Budget 2023, makes allocations to the continuation of the Linden Mabura Road. But in that 136 billion includes allocations for bridges. The allocation for the bridge across the new Demerara River crossing. We are working on 45 bridges between Mabura Hill and Lethem. 45 bridges of different dimensions. Right now, as we speak, one of those bridges are under threat. It's a wooden bridge, overladen truck, it's broken, and it's basically traffic is just oozing to the side. We have to get that truck removed, the goods taken out, and the rest of it. But we want to bring that to an end, because these 45 bridges that we are putting in are all bridges that will be built according to international standards, AASHTO standards. These are going to be concrete bridges, not the regular wood bridge that breaks every 15 years or under the constant movement of weight, 5 years, depending on what kind of materials used, but this is going to be to international standards. We are continuing with our bridges in various communities. And one of the things that we are doing now is that when we build bridges, we are not continuing with timber, because the lifespan for that is not adequate. You have to keep doing the same thing over and over again. As Minister Ashley Singh would have discussed, the conversation about the bridge across the Quarantine River and the bridge at what is known as the Wisma Bridge are actively being pursued, because the intent at Wisma, since you're going to have a widened corridor that is taking traffic through Linden to Babura Hill onto Lethem, which is what we are building right now. The bridge at Wisma is a 1-lane bridge. We want to now build a 4-lane bridge, catering for what is required and for future development. There were studies done and so on for a 2-lane bridge, but our policy position and direction, rather than building a 2-lane, is to go for a 4-lane. So you build for the now and for the future, and that's one of the things that Budget 2023 addresses, dealing with the immediate, but also preparing for the future, 2030 and beyond. In Budget 2023, allocations are made for navigational aids. You know, we've had all of these crashes, boat accidents. We want to improve navigational aids in the Demerara Channel, in the Berbice Channel, in the Pomeroon area, in the Barima Winey. So we're putting in beacons, buoys, and other navigational aids. Budget 2023 makes provision for that. The MV Malaysia has left India. It sailed from Kolkata to Chennai, and then it was boarded onto a submersible barge that would bring it all the way down to Trinidad, and then it would sail from Trinidad to Guyana with Guyanese crew on board. Now, Budget 2023 makes provision for the final payments on that, but also the fixing of stellings to accommodate this new vessel. And, you know, people had a lot of things to say about the boat when it was launched into the water. I guess it's because we're not accustomed to seeing certain things. The boat was not completed. What was launched is the frame. Now the boat is properly retrofitted, it's painted, everybody's calling it, it's nice, it's nice. I did a post of it this morning. So I did have a number of comments in it. But that boat, because of its front-loading nature, we have to do some adjustments, and this the length of the boat. So we're spending monies to put in a new wharf at Port Kaituma. The contract for that is already awarded. The Kingston Goods Wharf, a contract for that is already awarded. We have to do a new wharf at Mabaruma and some adjustments at Marijuana in the northwest area, so that boat will be able to do that. We have to continue to complete the Leg 1 and Bartical stellings. I'm not proud of the fact that Leg 1 is not yet completed, but this is one of the projects that we inherited from the APNU AFC. It was corrupt from the very beginning, mismanaged, mishandled. We're seeking to rescue it and bring it back. The same thing with Bartical. So Budget 2023 makes provision for that. The airport, which is part of our responsibility, not just the CGIA, but hinterland airstrips. We have to improve hinterland airstrips. We don't want to continue to hear about plane tire got punctured on landing, or plane ran off the runway, or passengers got injured on landing because of some unevenness in the runway. So we are maintaining our infrastructure as it relates to aviation. There's still a lot of work that we are doing on the apron at the Chedijagan International Airport. Budget 2023 caters for that. Sea defenses is also part of our responsibility. We have to maintain our sea defenses, but we also have to build out new infrastructure, especially in the areas where we are losing mangroves as a result of shifting patterns and other consequences. So Budget 2023 caters for sea defense development as well. So in the various sectors that we have dealt with, there are allocations of specific sums to be expended. Urban drainage is one of those areas. Urban renewal, infrastructural development, putting in the sidewalks, the pavements, geometric improvement of our roads, dealing with the traffic lights, ensure that they're proper functioning and working, street lighting, all of this and more we have to deal with, and that's the reason why we're having such a sizable budget. But one of the new things that Budget 2023 addresses is a new 4-lane highway from Palmyra to Molson Creek in the East Port Beach region. So, you know, Palmyra is where we're going to have the oil refinery. It's where we're going to have the Deepwater Harbor. President has already said it's going to have a stadium. It's going to have hotels built out there. It's going to have a huge housing development in the immediate vicinity. We're going to put in a municipal airport. All of that in the Palmyra area. And you know, if we get any more cars in some villages, they can't even move out of the street because of the congestion. So we are catering for the long term. And remember, we're also building a bridge jointly with Suriname across the Corentyne River. So there's a significant sum that is allocated for the Palmyra Molson Creek Road development. Last year we awarded contracts for the structures. There are some 99 structures, culverts and bridges that have to be expanded and enlarged and to facilitate the 4-lane. We have to get some of the utilities removed. GPL and GWI have to do some moving of utilities. Monies are allocated in Budget 2023 to do the actual road, lift it to the next level and paving it as an asphaltic concrete road. So I'll stop there just because I'm passionate about what we're doing, and this is just explain to you some of the things that we're doing as it relates to financing in Budget 2023.
Thank you, Minister. This year's budget is under the theme Improving Lives Today, Building Prosperity for Tomorrow, zeroing in on roads, the new construction of roads and odd bridges. How does this tie into Guyana's modernization and transformation in relation to housing development for people in new housing communities, persons who are now building homes? Why is it so important that all of this work take place, especially right now?
Well, if you look at the budget, apart from money being allocated for roads, a budget measure has also been initiated to make ownership of cars easier and cheaper. Because with the housing development that is taking place, we're committed to giving the 50,000 house lots in our 5 years. I think we are way on the road of fulfilling that already. People are living in new areas that are opened up. For example, when we open up the Ogle to Eccles 4-lane, new lands will be opened out there. The whole Commons Lodge back is gone. The road from Aubrey Barker, that we know as Aubrey Barker Street, is now crossing over, and you can drive and go all the way to Commons Lodge. People got to travel. And if we're going to improve people's lives, we have to be able to make them, one, own the car so they could put their kids, drop them to school, they go to work, in the afternoon they pick up their kids, they go home. But owning the car is one thing, having the road to drive on is the second thing. So I'm just trying to show you how you connect the dots. Ownership must be accompanied by accessibility, have a network, roads that you could actually drive on. If you talk to the average person, but what is one of their number one concerns or what they would like to see government do, they would tell you up front, my road needs to be fixed. Because you're in some housing scheme, there's some area, the trucks are passing through, the holes are getting bigger, damage is being done, but we are getting ahead. Just recently, we awarded contracts in conjunction with the Ministry of Housing and Water, Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development in partnership with the Ministry of Public Works, 1,085 new roads across regions 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 10. Massive work. So we have to improve people's lives in that way. The farmers, when we build the city fences, they have a greater guarantee that their crops will not be flooded, so they can invest knowing that there's good and adequate city fences that are there. When you bring in a new ferry and you cut the travel time from Georgetown to the northwest, which could take 24 to 27 hours, into 10 to 12 hours, that's improving people's lives. But it's also creating an environment for greater movement, people to bring down their supplies, people could start doing businesses and the rest of it. When we connect hinterland roads, you set down the cost of living. Because if roads are not able to be accessible to certain parts of the interior and everything is going by flight, you pay for those items on the plane by the pound. The cost is passed on to the consumer. But when you could have trucks fetch the same goods in economy of scales, the price could be lower. So I'm just highlighting from my sector how what we do, how it improves lives. Tourism is becoming a major sector that is developing in Guyana. But when the tourist comes and the tourist guide is operating, you have to get a road to carry the people to the eco lodge. You have to be able to get them to show them around the country. We have to be able to ensure that the waterways are safe. There are guides, there are beacons, there are buoys, there are navigational aids. So all of the things that we are doing is towards enhancing and improving the lives of Guyanese. When Guyanese are at work, they're happy because they're earning. They don't have to depend on anyone. And what we as a government, what we're doing is creating opportunities for Guyanese, for people to tap into it.
Thank you. In relation to the four-lane highways, for some out there, the concept of four-lane highways are foreign, or they may not see the need for these four-lane highways. They're accustomed to having two-lane highways already. Why is this important? Why is this necessary? Guyana is improving in many ways, but some might say that if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Oh, well, it's broken. And even if it was not broken, we have to be proactive in our planning. Now, there was a time when a series for cars would take 2 years to change. Now, in under 6 months, 10,000 cars in a series are sold and gone. So our roads we need more space for more movement of cars. You don't want to take half an hour from NCN to Georgetown. You don't want to take 2 hours from Georgetown to Coverdale if you live on the East Bank. A drive that is normally 25 or 30 minutes. You want to ensure that you have the space for the lanes of traffic. And that's why we're improving the East Coast Railway Embankment Corridor. We already have 2 lanes coming and 2 lanes going towards the north. On the railway embankment, we'd have another 2 lanes going and 2 lanes coming. So the volume could be taken off, and the speed with which you, or I should not use the word speed as dangerous for driving, the ease with which you can be able to commute, to get home, to get to work, to get to church, to get to play, you're reducing the time, and you're also making it more efficient and safe.
You spoke to the lives of persons in the households, communities being improved by these major developments. You spoke a little bit about consumers and businesses, but let's talk a little bit more about the businesses. What does all of this mean for businesses in terms of expansion and having more types of businesses throughout the country, not just in the capital city or some other regions, but the country as a whole?
Well, look and see what's happening in Guyana. The day you build a new road, just pass back and see what happens in that neighborhood. Small houses are broken down, 3-story complexes are going up, 5-story complexes are going up. People are taking advantage. We create the enabling environment. We put in place the infrastructure to create that kind of a development. And automatically the private sector, they're investing. We open up a new road. President Ali was instrumental in leading that charge, what some people call the concrete road, but I can tell it has been gazetted. I have gazetted the road. It's called the Mandela-Eccles Interlink Road. That concrete road has opened up a new set of land. Go through there. You see what's happening. Warehouses are being built out. The housing development is taking place because you're creating an enabling environment for things to happen. And that's what takes place when we build out new roads. When you build out new roads and we get accompanying those new roads, the gas to energy project, which Budget 2023 caters to, and we could bring down the cost of electricity, you'll see a lot more agro-processing, manufacturing, people trading, because you could get to one destination and come back. You know what is it that you could drive all the way into Paramaribo, sell your products and come back home at the evening? It's possible. Now to go to Paramaribo is one day, coming back is one day. But when you get a proper road infrastructure with accompanying bridges, and you drive straight to El Dorado, over the bridge, into Long Island, then into Nikeri, and then down into Paramaribo, for businesses, that means greater access to market. When you could come down the Linden Mabura Road, and you could go all the way through to Letem, and cross the Takatu Bridge into Brazil, where about 20 million people are opened up in the state of Roraima, you have a market of 20,000 other people. So it means greater opportunities. And that's what we want to do. Budget 2023 looks after the vulnerable. It takes care of those who are in need. And we've been doing that as a government. Our children, they're getting more. The people who are unable to help themselves because of some circumstance that they're on public assistance, they're getting more. The people who are applying for small business grants, they're getting more. The people who are looking for work because they want to help their spouse or to help their children, I think right now we have about 11,000 of those part-time workers throughout the country. Budget 2023 addresses that. Another $10 billion is allocated. So you'll have more people working, you'll have more people learning, we'll have a more developed society, and we'll be able to keep things moving.
And Minister, we've touched on various areas here, but before we go, in terms of job creation, this is a very large budget allocation for your ministry, and of course we were expected to see many contracts being awarded and rolled out throughout the country. How will this impact the job creation opportunities in Guyana, especially those involved in the construction sector?
Well, I could give you an example for the ordinary man to see and appreciate. If I award 400 plus contracts for more than 1,000 roads, multiply every road by 5. A minimum of 5 men working it. Have to get a grader, a roller, maybe a bobcat, an excavator, a foreman, an engineer, somebody to deal with traffic. So when you compare what's going to take place, at minimum, every contract that you issue is about 5 to 6 persons employed. That's jobs. But if I'm building 1,000 roads, I need stone. 800,000 tons of stone. One truck can't fetch that. Each one of those trucks could fetch a minimum of 20 to 30 tons. That's job for the trucks. The cement must be sold so that the businessman is selling it. But the canter that is moving the cement is getting a job. The dray cart man that is pulling the lengths of steel to get to that construction site, he's getting a job. The person who has to work in the warehouse for the stocking is getting a job. So the whole cycle is geared towards job creation. So you start putting on a major construction site. 200-300 people are working. The ladies who bring lunch, they're getting a job. Small business development. So it's a cycle of progress. And I like the language that Minister Ashley Singh used when he was talking about support to Gaisuku. And he was talking about the estates that will be starting up again. And he said the chimney would see smoke again. So in Guyana, the chimneys must have smoke coming out, because it's not just there as in memoriam, in remembrance of. It must be alive, something dynamic is happening. So when there's a contract issue for city fences, excavators, operators, men in the drainage and irrigation sector, people got to get the job done. In a smaller area of maintenance of roads, weeding and cleaning, and maintenance of highways. In my ministry, scores of small contractors, and a lot of them women and single women, doing those kinds of jobs. So I would laugh and just think it's funny when someone, because of their myopic, jaundice view, will say budget 2023 does not do anything for anybody. It affects all sectors. Senior citizens are getting more. People on public assistance getting more. School children getting more. It's about giving more to people, improving people's lives, creating jobs, and at the same time, building things for the future. We wouldn't forever have to build a bridge. So people might say, but a lot of the money in the budget gone to infrastructure. You won't be building a new Demerara Harbor Bridge forever. That's a 2-year construction. You won't be building a Palmyra Highway forever. That's a 2 or 3 year construction. But when that road is built, it's 50 years. When that bridge is built, it's 50 to 100 years. The monies will be able to go on to do other things. So you can't eat everything out. You know, if a young man is working and every time he gets paid, he's only eating and dressing, he can't improve his life. You got to think about saving. You got to think about getting your own home. You got to think about buying a car. Not everything could go on glitz and glamour and to be eaten immediately. You got to plan for the future. So monies in budget 2023 must go towards educating young people, lifting their standard of living from just CXCs to masters and PhDs so they could operate at the highest level. 10 years from now, they are the kingmakers, decision makers. They're the people in the positions of power. Budget 2023 is creating that opportunity for that.
Well, thank you so much, Minister. Thank you for being here today, and thank you, the viewers, for joining us.